Hello everybody, my name is Corvus, and I'm from the Ministry of Essence. I decided to go ahead and make a YouTube channel to give out guides on Ashes of Creation as well as just any sort of update that I possibly can, whether I find it on Twitch, Discord, Reddit, anywhere. As long as it's, worth for me to make a YouTube video about, I'll make a video. But with that being said, let's continue to this month's livestream. This month's livestream was all about the Mage, and we learned about some of the abilities as well as some combos. They showcased the frost and lightning side of the Mage because they weren't quite ready to show like the fire and some of the other sides of the Mage, although they did tease that we should be able to see some of those fire abilities possibly in the near future, so that'd be pretty cool. Honestly, I thought that this was the best combat that we've seen in the game yet. Just looked more fleshed out, seemed like it felt better, and definitely looked better. And I also thought it was a really good idea that they handed it off to Trad to show some of the combos instead of having Steven do it. It just kind of gave a little bit of a better dynamic, I think. Made the combat look a little bit more professional. The video started out with us seeing another location in the Riverlands called the Hall of Judication. I know a lot of people were hoping that we'd see a different location somewhere else besides the Riverlands, but it is what it is. At least we got a good combat stream. Now, before I show off some of those abilities, I just want to go over a couple debuffs that the Mage will apply to enemies that are hit with certain abilities. One of them is called Electrified. It reduces magical mitigation, and then it says that enemies with 10 or more stacks of Electrified gain the shocked effect. And then if you damage shocked enemies, it will consume stacks of Electrified to add additional damage. And we'll go over that in just a little bit. The next one's called Chilled. It slows affected targets. And then it says that enemies with 5 or more stacks will become frozen. And then if you hit an enemy with another ability, like for instance, let's say a lightning ability, it will break that frozen effect, dealing more damage. So one thing that they showed that was really cool is when you use an ability that applies a certain debuff, like Electrified for example, you can actually use your basic wand attack to actually increase those stacks of Electrified, which is pretty unique, and I'm interested to see how this will play out in the future. You'll see a little clip in a little bit about that. Steven turned on his GM cheats to kind of like show us like the abilities without cooldowns so then we didn't have to wait for them, so keep that in mind when Steven is spamming abilities. So the first ability that we were showed was Blink. Now if you're familiar with Alpha 1, you've seen this ability and it basically looks almost exactly the same, although they did make it look a little bit better. But basically, you're able to teleport in the direction that you are going, so you can use it to rush in or rush out, rush away, however you want to use the ability, obviously. And I think it's a nice ability. It's pretty basic, it's clean, I like the animation, it's nice and simple. So the next ability that we got was called Shell. It's another basic mage spell. You'll start to realize that a lot of these abilities are pretty basic, and there's nothing wrong with that. Traditional mage spells is a good route to go. But yeah, obviously it's a protective barrier that absorbs a large amount of damage. And it has a short duration, so you're going to want to time this correctly. Steven also added that you'll be able to increase the duration of the spell in the future with the augmentation system. Next up is Blizzard. It's a channeled ability that creates a blizzard around you, raining down ice shards that deal damage and applies stacks of Chilled. I think this is one of the coolest abilities that they showed today. It's also a pretty basic one, but they did such a good job with the animation. I really, really like it. I like the frost on the floor, the shards look nice, and you could definitely see that this spell is going to be huge for AoE damage, and you're going to see that in a clip in a little bit. So next up is Ball Lightning, and well, just like the name, it's a ball of lightning. It travels forward slowly, dealing rapid lightning damage and applying electrified stacks to targets that are inside of it. And those stacks of Electrified should add up really quickly because it hits really rapid, so it should really increase your DPS on your target. Although I think that they should redo the animation on this a little bit or just improve on it, I can really see this ability being really used in PvE and also large-scale PvP. So the next ability is Cone of Cold, and I think it's awesome. I love how it moves forward with those shards coming up. So how this ability works is when you use it, anyone in the area will take ice damage, and then it will also apply a single stack of Chilled. And if they hit those shards, they also will take additional damage, and then it will apply more stacks of Chilled, depending on how many they hit. Next up, we got Lightning Strike, and well, it's exactly what it is. It's a Lightning Strike. It deals a decent amount of damage, and it applies 2 stacks of Electrified, so you're going to want to use this in combos. Timing this is probably pretty key too as well. So yeah. Then they showed us Frostbolt, which launches a bolt of ice towards your target, and it deals ice damage as well as applying 2 stacks of chilled. When you use this, it's going to slow down your enemy as well. So then they showed us this little combo that Steven did where he used Frostbolt to apply those 2 stacks of chilled and then hit him with a couple of the basic wand abilities to then freeze the target. And then he uses lightning strike, and that will break that frozen effect, dealing a little bit of more damage. So pretty nice combo. So then the next ability that they showed was chain lightning, and that releases lightning to your primary target, and then it chains to all nearby targets around your primary target, dealing damage, and then applies 3 stacks of electrified to each person hit. So I think that this is going to be massive in PvE or in large-scale PvP. This will definitely be key to do a lot of AoE damage. Arcane Volley was next up, and that fires a volley of arcane missiles at your target. It deals arcane damage with each hit. It looks pretty nice. It seems like it does a lot of damage. You'll see that in a little while when Trad takes over to do some of those combos that I talked about earlier. So the last ability that we got was an ability called Slumber. And basically what this does is it puts your primary target asleep, but not only your primary target, but enemies around your primary target. So it's this little bit of an AoE sleeping ability, and I'm curious to see how well this works when it comes to balancing it, but we shall see. So after they showed us the abilities, Steven hops on the Thunderbolt mount, and he glides quite far. And this is pretty nice because it kind of shows you how you can get to point A to point B fairly quickly by gliding, which is pretty cool. And then Trad takes over, and he actually equips a greatsword, which is pretty cool. At least I think it's cool. And he kind of showcases like how this greatsword can be used to do more AoE damage.
No, Trent! Oh, God!
I canceled my blizzard.
So even though Trad didn't make it that far, you can definitely see where Intrepid is taking the mage. So in that clip, Trad applied those 10 stacks of electrified, which gave those mobs the shocked status, and then he switches to the greatsword and uses those basic attacks. That's why you see that pulsing effect around the enemies. It almost looks like they're getting shocked from the greatsword, and that's because of those stacks of electrified. It's dealing more damage. So one thing they got to keep in mind is this is just them showing off the frost side and electric side of the mage. This isn't fire. This isn't any of the other mage abilities. This is just a couple abilities that they're willing to show us. So if any of you feel like the combat feels slow, you got to keep in mind that you're going to have 15 to 20 abilities on your hotbar, and you're going to be choosing between like anywhere between 30 to 40 skills, you know, that you're able to actually choose from and pick. It's just a common complaint that I see in some people's live streams. You'll look at the live chat and you'll see that people are saying that it feels slow. Well, it feels slow because there's barely any abilities. They're barely showing any abilities. So yeah, always keep that in mind. So anyways, tell me what you guys thought about this month's live stream. Is there anything you didn't like? Is there anything that you wish that they could improve on? If so, just leave your opinions in the comments below. Also, let me know how I did. If I did fairly good, this is my first time. So yeah, anyways, there's always room for improvement. I wanted to simplify this video, so this is just the, action side of the stream, the Mage showcase itself. So I will create another video about, the rest of the things we heard during the stream, all the little goodies and whatnot. With that being said, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in, and I'm going to leave a couple of remaining clips to finish off the video before I see you in the next one. Peace.
This guy takes a few rotations to bring down.
Yeah, I haven't really practiced on this one. Let's see how it goes.
And now, Keenan, talk to us a little bit about kind of the process that goes into creating these, class kits for Alpha 2. Your strike team has been hard at work and kind of developing phase 1 and phase 2 of these. What exactly goes into those phases?
Well, it's pretty much a 3-phase process. Phase 1 is very open-ended. We pretty much try everything under the sun, and we put it together in every way we can imagine, and we try to figure out what we like and don't like and iterate fast. Like we usually do playables like twice a week when we're in that phase. What you guys are seeing here is actually abilities that are in the process of passing phase 2. So they are approaching levels where we are happy with how they play, happy with how they look, and some details may change over time, but generally speaking, this is what we're going for. And from here, it would mostly just be like polish and assets and just getting like external feedback and stuff like that.
Very nice. Trad, I liked your use of slumber there. You're in a precarious spot. Oh god. Oh my god, Trad, I am literally on the edge of my seat just watching this, hoping you don't turn into ash. Oh god. Trad! Ow. Oh my gosh, that was crazy.
Clutch shell.
I wanted to make it look close, you know. It's good for the audience.
Uh-huh, yeah. Yep. Me too. That's when I die, it's because it's, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's dramatic effect.
Yeah.